Great. All right, we're live with Miss 26-year-old Ruby, Amber Neeley. Good morning, Amber.
Good morning.
So everyone in UCrew Nation will probably watch this, and to give them a kind of background on Amber, I want you to share, Amber, where you're from, a little bit about you, and also, you know, your family and how you found network marketing real quick.
Yeah, so I live in Austin. I'm 26 years old. I have a background in ultrasound, kind of followed in my mom's footsteps in that career field, kind of didn't know what I wanted to do, like straight out of college. I knew it would be in healthcare, like since I was a young girl, and thought about nursing and a couple of other things, but ended up moving to Austin to kind of find an accredited school at the time. And I worked in all types of different areas. I did mobile work. I also worked at like big hospitals. I launched new clinics and ended up in the later half of my career working with pediatric children or pediatric care. And that was probably my favorite. When I found network marketing, I had just had Atlas, a new mom. He was not even 2 yet. And I kind of feel like it found me. Like I was really looking for CBD. And it was only because, you know, Lauren and Allie and a couple of people from our hometown had been sharing some information on the benefits of it. And I'll never forget the graphic that like really caught my attention. And it was just like stating how patients who were receiving CBD treatment, specifically with mental ailments, had been benefiting pretty wildly, and that they'd seen a lot of really great success. And there were some things on that chart that really hit home for people that I love. And even though I was a new mom struggling with postpartum anxiety and depression, it blew my mind that something like CBD could help people with PTSD and paranoia and really, really, you know, difficult mental ailments. And so I decided to kind of fall on board and really just get the product for my family. And as I was having a conversation with Lauren Richards, she told me a little bit about her success, and I didn't think that it could ever happen for somebody like me. I thought, oh, you're just lucky, you know, and I was like, I just want the product, you know, maybe on the weekends. I was like, would it be okay if I sold this at a farmer's market? And she was like, yeah, absolutely. And I hadn't really seen it in the Austin farmer's markets. I thought, okay, we'll pitch a tent, talk to Michael about it. I was like, hey, what if we made a couple $100s? And he was like, yeah, like totally on board, was so excited. He was like, we could do this as a family. And I was like, yeah, we totally could. So our light bulbs went off, and then we realized that we didn't have to pitch a tent. We ran out of everything that we had in our box, just in the first couple of weeks of just sharing it with people. Of course, didn't charge our family for it. And then fell in love with the profession. I think when I like realized that this was an actual profession, there was something that just like made me want to pivot and made me want to do whatever it took to like find success here. And so that's kind of how this all happened for me. I'd never even heard of network marketing. I didn't know that it was an industry before I found Viseo. My first exposure to it, I talk about all the time, was like buying toothpaste online that was fluoride free in this mom group. And then like 3 months later, we went back to buy it. And I told Michael, like, oh my gosh, this company has completely shut down. And I'm pretty sure the girl just went inactive. Like now that I know what network marketing is.
So when you found Viseo, it's your first company that you ever really shared, right, in network marketing.
Yeah.
How old were you? And there's power in this story because, you know, a lot of people have to join network marketing and they have to have a little teeth in the game with some product purchase. But tell them where you were financially, but also how old were you? 25?
Yeah, I was 25. We were living very paycheck to paycheck. So I was trying to get out of the hospital setting and like just bringing home the bare minimum financially. And at the time when I found Viseo, we couldn't actually afford to buy like a single box of CBD. We were overdrawn $45. So I think we had gone out to eat as a family. We had just moved back to Austin. And I think like a $10 tip put us on overdraft, and a $35 surcharge hit our account. And that was kind of like normal for us at that time. Like, it was like, no big deal. We'll figure it out next pay period, you know? And so, Michael, as we were talking about it, he was like, well, let's just get our account back in good standing. I didn't know that he like went through like this big, like mega plan to like get the CBD oil for us, but he pawned his power tools, and that Monday we had everything we needed to get started. So that's kind of where
Michael's a big part of this story here. You know, I think a lot of times when we have these financial problems in our life, we don't want to talk about them. But what I would tell you and anybody else that watches this, that two things, you know, a lot of people are going through the same thing. You know, my wife and I were living in this massive house in 2008, 2009 when the market crashed. I went down to $400 in the bank. That's scary, especially when you have 2 mouths to feed and living in this huge home. But that's really a defining moment that not only did it form your hunger, your motivation, but also your grit. And, you know, I think we lose a lot of times that story where we feel maybe embarrassed to share it. But, you know, as we've seen in so many rooms, just with 10 or 20 people, and there's a lot of pain that people aren't talking about. And your story resonates with so many people, Amber, but also the Michael side that I didn't hear before resonates, you know, that he went out and did a selfless act, and he really pressed you into your greatness and into action, and gave you an ability to what I call build wealth. You know, wealth is built. Hold on a second. Can you still hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My wife just logged into Zoom. So, you know, wealth is built two ways. You can build wealth through the financial income, but also time freedom. And Michael made that decision. You went out with your bubbly, outgoing personality and built a massive business. And so you made that, Michael did that, you got in the business, and from there to you being able to walk away from your job, how long was it?
So we saw the fruits the first week. So our first 6 days, we made our first comma check. And Michael, you should have seen his face. I mean, he was blown away. He was
when
like,
you say comma, what was that, your first check?
It's $1,800. It was nuts.
How did that feel?
Mind blowing. I remember like texting Lauren, like, and I was sitting on the couch, Atlas was asleep. It's so crazy because I feel like that beginning was like so vivid for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember it like it just happened, like if we were still in that space. And so we made $1,800. I'd go into the bedroom because I didn't know how to figure out the back office part at first. Like my first I think for the first month, I didn't even know that I was like silver or gold. Like I didn't know any of that till like Lauren called me, or we were like at a retreat or something. Every time I ranked up, I didn't realize it. And I had already ranked up like 3 times. So we made that check, and, you know, I log into the back office. I'm like, hey, look at what's coming. Like, look at what just hit our account. And he was like, that's all ours. Like he's like, no way.
No,
That's
you
all
don't have to share it, Amber.
Yeah. Nuts. It was nuts. And then the following week, I mean, it was even more. And so it really blew our socks, because that's what I would make, you know, full time, bi-weekly, you know. So to have that in a week, and the entire time I didn't have to leave Atlas, it really opened up my perspective to like, this is like a solid business. Like, this is real money. This is literally insane, you know? And so, after that, it was just like, repeat what you do. Just keep following that system. And until midnight on Mondays, like I was like, until this is up, you know, I had my goal. And it was really powerful to see that.
Yeah. And, you know, powerful to make $1,800 your first week. And it really shows anyone that's hungry enough, they can do that. You didn't come in here with a massive network, and I would venture to guess you were probably terrified at 25 reaching out to people, but you did that with leverage. I see so many people that get in this profession that have a way bigger network than Amber, and they're terrified, and they go do it by themselves, and they do it all wrong, and they last 2 days. when
Yeah.
if they would have just been terrified enough to use other people as leverage, they would have a story like Amber's and even bigger. And Amber's story is it's gonna multiply. It's gonna get bigger and bigger. She's gonna make millions in this profession. She has so much ability and gifts and greatness that God's given her for this profession. So fast forward, you made $1,800. What's been your biggest check so far, Amber?
It was 4,200. And I think that was at 3 months. And that's when I was like, okay, this is a whole month's like income. I'm out. So I basically quit at that point, had totally.
How long was that in the business at that point?
3 months. Yeah. So I've been with Viseo for 3 months and collected
How'd that feel?
That was freaking nuts. I think I texted you when that happened. I was like, what just happened? It was nuts.
Yeah, and the thing about it is that week you use all your leverage. I see a lot of people in the team, the profession, they get kind of in a rut in multiple ways. That week she started using all of her leverage. And what I mean by that, say Amber gets in the business, she makes $1,800 and Lauren is super powerful. Amber says, well, I've had all my success because I just used Lauren, so I'm just going to use Lauren. Well, there's a couple problems with that. Lauren gets busy, and sometimes she might not be available for Amber. Amber's stuck on Lauren. That's all she can use. But certain people relate more to a guy. Some people relate to, a younger person like Stephanie. But some people relate to a single woman like Shanna, or some people relate to Lauren, that's a stay-home mom with 2 kids pregnant, craziness, right? So what happened that week, she made $4,200. I can venture to say you ventured out and started using all your leverage, and all your leverage was more readily available, right?
Yeah. I think there was a point when Lauren, like the first time she told me no, like she couldn't take a call. Like I think there was something happening with the family. And I was like shaking. I was like, what am I gonna do? And I had already had like my intro text. I knew that I could reach out to you guys, but I was terrified because I felt like I knew her, and I didn't feel like I knew you guys at all. And then I saw it duplicate in my business, and I saw other people have that same fear. And I was like, oh my gosh, just call Ricky. Like he's so great. Call, Cassie, call Lindy, call all of these leaders, and they're going to help you knock these calls out of the park, and you don't have to keep rescheduling. And I totally did. I mean, I remember you grinding, like you were up until past midnight taking calls with me back to back, and it was always on Monday night.
I know. There's a thing I say to myself in this profession. Everybody ran like Monday night every day of the week. They'd all be diamond or black diamond, right? So it's what I've saw in this, with this interview so far is that if we could just get people out of their own mind space, right, to use the family. We built this to be a family environment where everybody helps everybody. If you're on the team, and not get in your own head. I mean, that's what we're here for. I mean, it's just a phone call, right? It's not like you're asking me to dig a ditch. So you should, and everybody that watches this should want to reach out to their leverage and the people that's had success, because we have experience and we know how to get the information out properly, but also help people like Amber that was brand new. So 3 months, you walked away from your job. Now you get to be home with Atlas every day, right?
Yeah.
So how does that feel as a mom? Except 5 a.m. this morning, right?
5 a.m. was actually fun. We made breakfast. I was wide awake too. I took my sleep, so like I woke up with him. It was great, but I was tired. I was like, I'm gonna nap with you. No, it's been so great. I mean, I know that the Lord knew that this is exactly what I wanted. I mean, I was doing so much to get out of the hospital. I was looking at opening my own mobile ultrasound business. I was going to be indebted to my dad, which would have sucked. I'm so glad I didn't have to do that. I was cleaning houses. I was doing whatever I could to be more present with my boy. And that was a decision that we made way before Viseo. But I was still clocking in. I was still working night shift, and, that sucked. And so now that I have the ability to to make every meal and to be there with him and just be a more present mom. It's a whole nother life, it feels like, you know. And I grew up with 5 brothers and sisters in my home. I have 8 total. And I saw my parents suffer for time just in a good family dynamic. And I just love that I get to soak in my child and like the time that I have with him. You know, it's just a huge blessing all around.
So you went super fast. I guess people are watching this. Well, how do I do what Amber did? But also, I would say 2 questions. How do I go as fast as Amber? And also, what are some of the mistakes that you have learned that other people could repeat that you've learned? And I mean, hitting Ruby at 26 is crazy. That shows how powerful you are in building an organization and the system. But if I know there's been a learning process both ways. So if someone watches this and says, you know, I believe anyone can start at any time, right? They can be Amber's situation and they could have been in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and they can decision to start, and that can be their start. So if you were telling someone that was watching this, how can they go as fast as Amber? You had a job, you had a baby, so there's really no excuses for anyone, right? You're 25, you made $1,800 your first week, you made $4,000 within 3 months in a 7-day period. You walked away from your job, you still don't have a job, you're home with Atlas every day. So what can people do to go that fast? But also, after that question, what have you learned not to do as well?
I would say to go super fast, you have to stay close to the fire. Like the only reason I caught wind of what was possible here was because I stayed close to, I mean, I went to the event. I booked my ticket to Women of Vision. Like, I think I was a baby in the company. I went to every Tuesday night training. Even if I was working, I would like hide in the bathroom and like watch Tuesday night trainings. Like I did whatever it took to show up. And you know, sometimes I'd be getting off of work and it'd be 8:30 and you know, UCrew training would be on and I would just wait in the parking lot. That way I wouldn't have to come home and have to like take away from my son's time. So you know, I would say first, stay close to the fire, realize what's possible by doing that and learn from people, watch them. There's a lot, I think, in this profession that you can't just go through the trainings over and over and over again and get analysis paralysis. You have to catch things in the process. So while I'm watching you guys and I'm learning from you guys, there are certain things that it's almost like a clue. Like I had to study things that you didn't necessarily say. It's almost like reading in between the lines, which I hope isn't super confusing. But in that process, I caught my posture. I took a note of the words that I had to use. So I don't use certain hot words because you take it from a hobby to an actual profession in the way that you speak, right? The way that you have your tone, the way that you present, all of those things. And so that is probably one thing that I learned was just there are some things that will be taught, but there will be some things that will be caught, right? And then if I could tell you how to go fast, I think that would probably be it. Like just learn from the best, stay close to the best, and then implement it, take action, don't just sit on it. Things that I wish I could have done different. I wish that, I don't know.
Actually, before you answer that question, so really, you know, you really caught all these things, how to be successful by really just leveraging other people. I mean, I would say that what you realize that there's a lot of people looking for freedom in their health and their finances and their time when you started reaching out more than you probably thought when you started, right? You probably looked around and said, there's a lot of people like Michael and I that are looking for something else financially. I'm just the source. I'm just passing them off to someone else. That's a beautiful part of our system that, you know, Amber got in and all she had to do is put someone on a 3-way phone call and show them a video of this company and their technology and why we're superior, right? And then did you have kind of a moment where it was the reality set in that, man, there's a lot of people that are like I am, that are hurting financially, or they want more time with their kids, or they're sick of their job, or they're sick, health wise. And through these phone calls, you probably realize that, right?
Oh yeah, no, crazy. It was so crazy. I thought it was the coolest thing that I didn't have to talk because I was scared out of my mind. I thought it was so cool that all I had to do was be me and then put myself on mute, and in those conversations, I learned so much. So I learned what words to use, like what words to avoid. And I didn't necessarily have to use them right off the bat because you guys still take my calls. But now that I take calls for other people, like I know it's crazy because it was, you said something early on in my career, and it was talking about how I could compress the time machine, how I could compress time and learn and all these things. And it really is a time machine. I mean, and I just studied that. I took call after call after call. So, if you want to go fast, stay close to the fire, but also, use your people and make your list. I grew up moving and moving and moving. I've had the same maybe 5 best friends since middle school because I hated making new friends. I didn't have a huge network at all, but I called every single person in my phone book. Like I didn't leave a single soul out. So, in doing that, I got to learn a lot really fast. And
not only that, then people got on the product, and you've seen the product side of the company, right? Not just the $1,800 your first week. You saw people get impacted. I mean, truth be told, a lot of what we experience in this business is more than financially. It's realizing that we live in a sick world and people's health, and when they get on these products, it makes a big difference. And and that's a huge fulfilling part as well, right?
oh yeah, I mean, and that's really what attracted me to the company and the stories that were unfolding. My first 6 days, I truly believe we didn't make that kind of money because people were just looking for opportunity. People wanted to feel better. They heard my brother's story. They heard my sister's story. They heard my story. And they saw the conviction in our hearts and using these things. Because it's not like we have stuff that took 2 weeks to work. I mean, it worked in its first time using it. So it was a crazy amount of just like wildfire that spread. I mean, there were people who were coming to our house that I hadn't seen literally since middle school, like asking me if the CBD would help them. And I was like, come over, let's try it. And then taking it home and then coming back, buying more for their moms. It was insane, the types of stories that fell out. And it was because of the CBD. It was because of the product, because it worked.
So super successful. And, I believe anybody can be an Amber if they use the system like she did, like you heard. I would say that the mistake I see so many people, they fall out of the system. And Amber, she texted me a picture of her check just a couple of weeks ago, and it's back up in there, the $2,000 range in a week, which is awesome. But, we fast forward now, you're going on probably is this your first international trip for free?
Yeah, right. I guess so.
So how does it feel at 26, you and your husband going on a 4-day trip to Cabo for free?
It feels amazing. So when this first came out, I was like, am I capable of doing this again? Like, can I really do another 2020? I was scared. I was scared to be left behind. But we just we made another list, filled the gap with 2020, and man, it feels so good. I like every single day I had a countdown. I had a number on my journal, and Mike was like, is today the day? Like, are we doing it today? And it was just so awesome that morning that, we finished it. And I was like, Mike, we did it. We finally did it. And he was just like, I knew you were going to do it. It's so awesome. So we're really looking forward to it. It's around the time of our anniversary. So we're using this as a free anniversary trip. We're really excited. And we've told literally everybody about it. We're so pumped.
So really you've explained everything, how to get to Cabo. I mean, people got 30 days left roughly. And this interview has been so awesome that there's no second guessing how you can get to Cabo, how you can get financial freedom, but also time freedom. Amber's explained all that. It's really just putting other people to work and have a hunger, desire, and be motivated to reach out to people. And typically they have the same goals in life. They just need some kind of platform to have them, for them to be available to them. So guys, if you watch this video, Amber's giving you such great information, and you can go to Cabo. More importantly than a trip is that you can have the freedom she has daily now, and she's just starting. We all get to watch her growth. I mean, imagine finding this profession at 25 in the company like Viseo, this team, amazing mentorship that she has. This is just the beginning for this powerhouse, and we feel honored and blessed, and we love Amber so much, and Michael and Atlas, and I'm so proud. Amber, I just want to tell you that this is just the beginning. You know, you feel like maybe that you started the race a year and a half ago, but really you're just coming out of the starting gate. And the next, 4 to 5 to 10 years are going to be life changing for you, and you're going to be on many stages around the world. So get ready, develop yourself so you can develop other people with your story, and don't ever hold back from what you had, where you were at 25, because there's a lot of people that are at that. And my wife and I are super proud of you. We love you, and thank you for getting on today. People are going to find huge value in this. So I just want to say thank you.
Thanks, Ricky.
You're welcome. God bless.